not your highness, your slimeness. My hobbies include transphobia and sunscreen. Hey Spuds, it's Jamie. Welcome back to another video. First video on the channel. I don't know, but welcome either way. I'm very glad to have you here. And today we are looking at some of those wonderful trans confessions, trans stories, funny moments, relatable moments, awkward moments, the moments that you only laugh at when you look back at them, but they were really embarrassing in the moment. Those kind of trans moments, the kind of positive ones that we can have a little giggle at and relate to right now. I really like doing this series. I feel like it's been a while since I've done one of these, so here we are. Are you ready? Let's just get straight to it. Sorry, there is something I want to add before we get straight to it. I really appreciate every single submission that was sent in. I asked for these on my Instagram. You can go follow me over there so you can catch the next time I ask for some. But unfortunately, I won't be able to go through every single one, but I will hopefully be able to go through all of the ones from this round by the time I make a couple videos on this topic. But I just want to say thank you very much to everybody who sent in a little story. Thank you. When I was around 11 or 12, before I'd realized I was trans, I had short hair and wore my older brother's old clothes. Relatable. And would occasionally get called a boy, but I didn't really notice it much. One time I was in line for the toilets at a shop and was in the women's line. As I was waiting, I heard a man say, "Wrong line, mate," but ignored it because I didn't think he was talking to me. Then I heard it again and had to say I was a girl. After that, I really started to question if I was a girl and have never been to a public gendered toilet since. What if you have to pee whilst you're out? I mean, like, public toilets when you're trans are hellishly awkward and uncomfortable, so I completely appreciate where you're coming from. There is a really good app. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm sure if you Google it, you'll be able to find something. There is an app that lets you know gender neutral toilets near where you are. You enter your location and you can find out if there's any like gender neutral toilets that have been logged in this system nearby. So I would recommend that if that's something you'd be more comfortable with. When you're 11 or 12, why does anybody care? I don't know if this is the wrong stance to take, but I'm just like, people will know what line they're in. You know, people don't want to get in the wrong line for the bathroom. They'll check, they'll make sure they're in the correct line. It's kind of obvious if there's clearly a pattern in the people queuing what line that bathroom is for. And I'm just like, why do you have to call out a kid and say like, oh, you're in the wrong line? And it's like, no, you just made things uncomfortable. You could have just left it be. But I did have a relatively similar experience before I figured out I was trans. Being like called out and told off for being in the women's toilets, that kind of made me have some feelings, but I didn't understand what they were at the time because I didn't know what being trans meant. I didn't know people could be trans, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? But yeah, I relate. Hi Jamie, just saw your story about sharing stories or anecdotes. I'm still Narnia deep in the closet. Oh, Narnia deep. So I don't know if this classifies. I am sure it does. Thank you for sending it in. I never understood how someone could get gender euphoria from wearing a binder. That is, until the day I wore a bra for the first time and stuffed it. Oh, you did the opposite. Ooh, it's like this, but pointing backwards. Also, it was like opening Pandora's box, questioning why things were not the same after that. I hope you're doing good in your Narnia deep closet. I'm sure you will not be that deep in it forever. I think figuring things out about ourselves is always good and having an experiment. I love that concept. So like you knew about binding and then it didn't compute as to why you felt like, well, why would people enjoy binding and having a flat chest? And then it was like, oh wait, because I enjoy the opposite. Okay. That's cute. When I was in college, I made friends with another queer student in my psych class. We lost touch after I graduated from my program. I tried to find them on social media, but no luck. 10 years later, I ended up working a retail job at the same company my friend had worked at. I looked up their info in the customer database and found their number. That's strictly, I'm not going to judge you. That's strictly allowed. Just wondering. I took a risk and called the number. The person who answered said I had the wrong number. I told them I was looking for my friend from college. A few minutes later, I got a text from them. Hi, it's me, but I no longer go by dead name. She trusted me enough to disclose she transitioned. Oh, that's so cute. I was so happy to have my friend back in my life. That was 13 years ago now, and we're even closer than we were in college. I love that. I mean, potentially slightly questionable methods of getting the contact details. I don't know, not judging, but a happy ending. And I think it's sweet that she messaged you after. I don't know what I would do if I got a message out of the blue from somebody. If I was close to them, I would probably disclose and open up and be like, hey, yeah, I'm happy to reconnect. But if I wasn't as close, I don't know. I've had a couple messages from people who knew me pre-transition and then have found me online. I've never had a phone call. I feel like it would be very obvious if I got a phone call. I was just like, yeah, hello. But cute. I'm happy for you and your friendship. I wear binders. Congratulations. Sorry, I didn't mean to be sarcastic. I didn't know that was dreadfully obvious, though I only started wearing them a few months ago. After the holidays, though, my dad went to my conservative grandma's house to help set up the iPad we got her. She asked if he knew I wore binders. A conservative grandma knows what a binder is? She worked in a public school for some years, but I didn't know she knew what binders were. I'd be like, you know what a binder is? Oh my god. My mum asked me about that later and I panicked and said that they were comfortable, and she agreed and said that they looked comfortable. The crying, I can only assume the crying face is because they are not comfortable. I love that that was what you discussed with your mum, and your mum was like, oh, they look comfortable, and it's like, yes, yes. Because they're not. But yes, I feel like trans affirming clothing and like items like binders and stuff are so often also points of awkward conversations with family members and friends who accidentally discover that you own or wear this type of thing. You're just like, hello, yes, nice day to you too. But yeah, cool. Your mum thinks they're comfortable. Bind safely though. No more than 8 hours a day, don't double bind, wear the correct size, and if it hurts, take it off. Put in the trans dad hat on for a second there. I've been waiting for you to ask. Oh, well, what a wonderful coincidence. Wait, not a coincidence. What a wonderful time. Thank you for sending it in. For some background, I'm mostly stealth and I'm doing an event degree at uni and have 2 classmates, J and K, interesting initials, who are both queer. Know I'm trans and we really get on. We were in class, but both J and K had to leave early. Traitors. That's traitors. And the class was discussing coursework subject for an upcoming report about the challenges in sporting event. I was struggling with finding something to write about, and the lecturer, who's very nice but a bit clueless, said in front of everyone, L, don't take this the wrong way, ... Sorry if I offend you, ... Why don't you write ... about trans people in sports?
I died.
Does he know you're trans? I find that a little uncomfortable. I wanted to crawl under my table, so would I. So for moral support, I texted J and K's group chat, oh my god, not Mr. Lecturer outing me in front of the whole class. And the rest of the class didn't know. 10 seconds after that, I got a text from another classmate saying, what happened? I texted the class group chat instead of my mate's one. No. So that's the story of how I came out to my entire year group. 10 out of 10 experience would recommend just for the laughs. I'm glad that you can laugh about it. That is both hilarious, inappropriate, not from you, from your lecturer, and awkward. He did most of the legwork and then you just like finished off the being outed to that class by texting the wrong group chat. Wow. But why would he do that? Does he know that you're trans? Are you like openly trans with the lecturer? I find that really awkward to be like, hey, I'm going to single out trans student. You should write about the trans topic. I mean, that's quite like a heavy topic. There's a lot of politics around that. There's a lot of like anger. There's a lot of hate around trans people in sports. It's a little bit like insensitive / I know you've described him as clueless to be like, I think that you should write about this topic that could actually be really upsetting for you just because you're trans. Yes, sure. Trans confession / story. I had a therapy appointment 2 or 3 days after top surgery. All of a sudden, while I was sitting on my therapist's couch, I felt wet. What happened? Oh, what happened? My eyes went huge because I was like, what the hell? I would be like, what the hell? I looked down and one of the drain tubes had disconnected from the bulb at the end and it got all over the couch. You are shitting me. The drain in your chest from your top surgery disconnected from the little... So for anybody who doesn't know, some top surgeons will put in like plastic tubes into like in little incisions like round the surgical area, and then those tubes come out of the body and are connected to like little plastic balls that collect fluid that builds up. So they literally drain the excess fluid. It can stop swelling and things like that. So what happened to this person is the bulb that is filled with all of the drained fluid from surgery, which would be like blood and stuff, disconnected, and the liquid spilt everywhere. I was mortified. And not your fault. Not your fault. What the heck, surgery bulb? What you doing? You're letting the team down. I kept apologizing to my therapist and was convinced they'd asked me to never come back after that session. No, it was an accident. I couldn't imagine, like, if you'd done malicious damage, fair, but like, it was an accident. You couldn't help it. I think they'd have been really rude to just be like, yeah, piss off, don't want to see you again. You surgical drained all over my sofa. Surprisingly, I was allowed back. Okay, I'm glad they weren't dicks. They told me that this is the reason why they got a stain-proof couch cover, though I don't think they could have foreseen a post-op chest drain popping open when they bought the couch. Yeah, probably not. I guess they were probably expecting more normal accidents. Your typical accidents, like a drink spilling. Oh, or something. Okay, probably not the nasty content of a drain bulb. Do you know what? It happened. They didn't mind. The couch wasn't ruined. I'm sure you could just reconnect your little drain bulb. But oh my god, the anxiety I would have over that happening again. I would be like taping these bulbs to the tubes. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but I'm glad that you still got to see your therapist though. And congrats on getting top surgery. I don't know how long ago this was, but congrats. I hope that you are healing / have healed well and you did not have any more drain bulb accidents. Yay. Trans confession. Was washing my packet in my bathroom sink. Oh no. When my mum walked in. Oh no. Asking me something. Why do packers? So for anyone who doesn't know, a packer is a typically like silicone squishy penis or something that creates a bulge in underwear for trans masc people. Sometimes they can be very realistic looking. There's always funny stories when it comes to packers. Woohoo! She didn't know I had a packer as she's generally unsupportive and uncomfortable with my transition. I'm very sorry to hear that. I hope you have support in other areas and your mum can be more open-minded in the future and more supportive of you, because that is what you deserve. She just looked at the packer and then at me in confusion. Oh god. I was silent for a minute and just decided to respond with, hey, at least I'm making sure it's washed and clean. I mean, good for you being able to talk. I'm not sure if I would have been able to use words in that precise moment, but at least I'm making sure it's washed and clean. Perhaps not what I would have chosen to say, but never mind. I'd probably just been like, hello, how you doing? She walked out without a word. Oh god. She's never asked about it, but I'm not sure if she thought it was a or if she knows what a packer is. But yeah, the struggles of being a young adult who's transitioning against their parents' wishes whilst living at home, while still living with them. Damn. Yeah, I'm laughing because I can see the humor in the situation and I appreciate you sharing it, but I can also appreciate the difficulty in the situation, and I hope that in the very near future, if you are not already in a better place, that you can be in a better place in a more supportive environment. Where if somebody did walk in on you washing your packer, then it would just be like, hey dude, what are you doing? Oh cool, you're just cleaning your dick. Nice. Carry on as you were. Hi, I have a somewhat wholesome trans story. Only somewhat wholesome? I wanted completely wholesome. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for sending this in. So I'm a trans guy. Oh, me too. And I didn't feel like I passed that well, so I was really insecure. I know the feeling. One time I was doing tours around my school for new parents, and my school is a rugby school. What is a rugby school? Like a school for rugby, like for rugby players? Like what? What is a rugby school? Are there cricket schools? Are there squash schools? Are there table tennis schools? Are there croquet schools? I need to know. So male students are required to join the rugby team for their first year. Fascinating. And why only the boys? Like women can play rugby. As I was explaining it to this quite serious seeming dad as I was touring, I nearly said torturing, not trying to say that you were torturing the serious dad. No, you were touring. He asked me, so how did you find the compulsory rugby? Oh, and I was really taken aback, so I told him, oh, well, I didn't really end up participating because I wasn't out at the time. Hey, that must have been like so affirming though. And he seemed kind of shocked, but then he said, oh, well, my son loves rugby. I guess you boys are very different. At the time, it was really awkward because I didn't want to out myself, but when I realized afterwards, it was actually really sweet and very euphoric. Yeah, that was an affirming moment. Nice. I'm happy for you. I'm still very confused by what a rugby school is though. Trans story. I was very excited. After I had first come out to a friend of mine, cis-het man, I like the clarification, as non-binary, I could tell he had some trouble when referring to me. I distinctly remember he was telling our friends a story once, and when I was brought up, he sort of paused before calling me a piece of slime to avoid misgendering me. Still warms my heart to this day. A piece of slime? A piece of slime? Yes, a piece of slime. No, everyone wants to be a piece of slime. I mean, that's the three genders, isn't it? Man, woman, piece of slime. Congratulations on your slimeness. Not your highness, your slimeness. Yeah, I mean, if that's the kind of friendship you have, that's very cute. If that was his way of dealing with things and learning, and yeah, piece of slime. Did everyone else understand who he was referring to? I'm a sixth former who is part of a lot of societies and presents in them quite often. Honestly, like, kudos to you. I couldn't do that. That is like the exact opposite of what I was like, but I respect you. I even won an internal award for one. Well done. As a result of this, my name is always on some poster in the school. The name I chose is quite an unusual one, so everywhere I go, I hear people gossiping about it, like, no way someone is actually called that. People can have all sorts of names. Shut up. Whilst I'm just standing there like, is actually pretty funny. You own that name. Like, that is cool. It's a talking point. People will remember that you are the person that is really cool and involved in all of these societies, and you're bossing them, and yeah, go you with your unusual name. Some context. Thank you for the context. I've been transitioning for about a year now. I'm nearly at the end of my university degree, so it's been quite interesting. Does my voice sound weird? Hello. I feel like my voice... Okay, that feels more normal. Does that feel normal? I'm now questioning if my voice sounds normal. I'm heavily involved in a student engineering team at university and help to run it now. I was prepping myself for an awkward conversation with the team leader. I knew he would be good about me being trans, but it's still hard to mention new names and pronouns. Yeah. It went so much better than I can imagine. Oh, yay! I asked for a one-on-one meeting after winter break. During this time, I did things like cut my hair and start binding and dressing more masculine. Okay, so you rocked up looking different. So I rocked up. Yeah, I did read ahead and I stole your word. So I rocked up and he did like the head to toe look. He very politely went, so, is this about blow high? Okay, how did he know? Can you see the blow high? Blow high, the trans icon blow high. I nearly burst into laughter from relief and said, yeah, it is. My name is now insert funky chosen name, and I use he, they pronouns. Truly, if you're going to ask if I'm trans, please ask that way from now on. That is one of the best ways I've ever heard of somebody asking if someone else is trans. That is such a cool way to... How did you come out? Oh, yeah, I was asked if I wanted to talk about blow high, the trans shark icon. Yes. Wow, how did he know? I'm really curious. I want to know. Like, I feel like he must know trans people. One time, that was so bizarre. One time, me and my cis friend were getting coffee and he randomly asked me how binders work. And to be honest, I didn't know what to say. And I was like, they just kind of compress / bind your chest. And he just said, yeah, but where do they go? Where do they go? They just squash. I wonder if he was thinking about like tucking, where you can put the balls back up. Could you imagine? Where do they go? Oh yeah, into the backpack I wear. You push them out and they go all the way to the back. Bless him. He was trying though. Hello Jamie, I'm trans FTM. Hello trans FTM. And now I'm not very out, but also somewhat out. Not very out, but also somewhat out. You're a little bit out. Okay. My friends made a bet a few months ago saying if they landed a lunchbox flip, like a bottle flip, but with a lunchbox. Okay, thank you. I'd had to come out to my teacher. I hope you felt ready to. Like, I hope this was like a bet, but really you were feeling like you should, or you wanted to, or you were ready to come out, and you were like, this could just give me that last bit of courage. Since I had no faith in them whatsoever, I agreed. Okay, I'm not convinced. Well, the friend landed it on the first go, of course. At the end of the day, I stayed an extra 20 minutes talking to my teacher, who was very supportive about me being trans. I'm glad they were very supportive. I just hope you were ready to come out. I'm impressed that your friend landed the lunchbox flip on the first go. I've never tried it myself. I don't know how easy it is. It could actually be really easy. But I do hope that you were ready to come out and you didn't feel forced to. Trans confession incoming! Oh, I love this. Context first. Thank you. I'm out to my friends, but not teachers at college. Okay, once my friend and I were joking together in a maths lesson because I got a question disastrously wrong and she started calling me Mr. Maths Degree because I was considering doing maths at uni then. The teacher overheard and thought that we were making fun of him for having a maths degree. Aww. Then cue the most awkward conversation ever while we try and explain that we weren't being rude to him while also trying really hard not to out myself. That's cute. Oh, your poor teacher was like, oh, these damn students taking the piss out of me. I like maths, okay? Maths is cool. I like maths. I'm not taking the piss. Like, to me, that's like calling somebody a wingman, or like, it's okay. It's just call it, just say it's an in-joke. It's sorted. Sorry, I was referring to my friend as a bit of an in-joke that, like, I call them Mr. Maths Degree, just a thing between us. not taking the piss out of you. Thank you, teacher. My first boy haircut was absolutely atrocious. Oh dear. Oh dear. I didn't know what to ask for at the barber's. I feel like if you do not go in with a really like solid idea of what you want and explain it really well, you don't get anything near what you were even thinking you might end up with. As I was never taught about hairdresser language, and the barber cut my hair into a pixie. Oh dear. I mean, nothing wrong with a pixie, but I feel like as a trans person, if you're going in for like your first boy haircut, a pixie cut is not really what you want. I cried in the bathroom when I got home and decided to cut my own hair. No one was home, and I had my dad's razor, and when it got to my ear, I shaved a massive V around it. I didn't leave the house for months. Probably would have recommended a hat, or just shaving it all off on the same level, all over, smooth, good job. I feel like if you try and cut your own hair, very rarely does it go right unless you've had some practice. Yay. It grows though, that's the good thing about hair. Every time someone compliments my name, Archer, I always say, why thank you, I picked it out myself. And people look at me like I'm crazy. I live in the south, so I guess it takes people off guard, but I panic and lose the ability to just say thank you instead. Happens way too often. I mean, I get it. You want to take credit for picking this amazing... People are complimenting it. You want that credit. That is your credit to take. I understand. It's like an automatic reaction. If somebody says, hey, that painting's really nice. It's like, yeah, I did that. Of course, you don't just go, yeah, thanks. Yeah, you want to be like, yeah, that's my doing. But at the same time, you maybe don't want to out yourself as being trans every single time someone mentions your name, especially if you don't know how people are going to react. But yeah, it is a moment. I mean, Jamie is like standard. I don't get complimented on the name Jamie, which is probably a good thing, because I would say thanks, I picked it myself. I wouldn't be able to control myself, I'd have to. My awkward story. Oh, specifically an awkward one, love it. When I wasn't out to my grandma, my sister called me by my new name once, so I had to come up with a cover story really fast. But afterwards, I realised I planned to come out to her just 2 weeks later, so that would get really awkward. Thankfully, my dad talked to her for me, and then she came up to me and asked, so you want me to call you new name now? When I said yes, she hugged me really tight and told me that she'll always love me. She's in her mid-80s and had never heard of trans people before. See? Age is just a number, it's not an excuse. I think that's really sweet. Why'd you start it off with awkward story? This is an adorable story. Maybe it was slightly awkward for the first bit, but it was mostly adorable. I'm very happy that your grandma accepts you, and that was very, very sweet. First time I went into the men's bathroom, I'm a trans man. I walked in on someone in the stall. Oh dear God. Okay, I'm going to read the rest of it, and then we have something to unpack about this situation. I walked in on someone in the store. I already read that bit, which was so fun, seeing this was my first experience with the men's bathroom. In my defense, you don't need a defense, it's okay. When I walked into the bathroom, it was really quiet and it seemed like it was empty, and so I went towards the first stall, which was shut but unlocked. I opened it up and there was a man inside. I was so embarrassed. A man! I was so embarrassed and terrified, I quickly averted my eyes and apologised and chose the farthest stall from him. I then waited until I heard him leave before I went to wash my hands. But yeah, that was a fun little trans experience. I mean, my question is, was he pooping or not? Because something that I noticed that I never knew was a thing until I started regularly using the men's bathrooms is some guys don't use the urinals, they pee standing up in the stalls, but they don't lock the door. It's really, really odd. If you are a guy and you do this, why? If you don't mind people seeing you peeing, why not use the urinal? I mean, and this is like instances where there's loads of stalls and loads of urinals free. Like, it's not as if they had no other choice. But then if you don't want to pee in front of other people, why not lock the door? Especially if there's only one stall, if someone's coming in. The amount of times I've walked in and there's like at airports where there's loads of stalls and loads of urinals, you'll walk in and like a bunch of doors will just be open with guys peeing standing up. I've never had a door open and someone's been pooping, so I don't know if that's what's happening here, but it seems to be a thing that some guys will use a stall but not shut or lock the door. It is kind of even more awkward if they shut the door over but don't lock it, because then when you push it, because you think it's open, it's like a little bit open, you push, you're then like pushing the door into the butt of a guy who's peeing, and then it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I assumed you would lock the door if you wanted to use a stall. But yeah, anybody else have experience of this? And anybody else also have experience in men's mems in men's public bathrooms where there's just no locks on the stalls. Like there, I understand why it happens because nobody can lock a stall. I went to an event recently and I really had to pee. I was feeling a little bit anxious because it was like in a basement like location and I don't really like that, and I was just a bit stressy and I had to pee and I was really desperate, so I was a little bit like and so I go down to pee and there are 3 stalls, none of them lock. And they all open, I think these ones opened outwards and there was like no handle to hold on to. So it's not even as if I could have like peed and like held it shut in some way whilst I peed. And it was quite like trafficky in and out. I was like, I'm not. So I went over and I was like, sorry, none of the stalls lock and I really need a stall to go to the toilet. And they were just like, yeah, you're going to have to leave the venue to find a bathroom. And I was like, I can't leave the venue. They literally said if I leave the venue, I won't be allowed in for the event. So in the end, I had to use the disabled. Like they opened it for me. I was like, dude, just have locks on your bathrooms, please. But apparently lots of guys don't care. I'm assuming it's cis men that don't care really. Anyway, that was my diversion rant on bathrooms. Thank you for joining. Trans confession. Every evening I take off and clean my very realistic packer. Very realistic. So this thing looks full on like a penis, and leave it to dry on the bathroom cabinet. Do you live like alone? Is this a shared bathroom? Including the evening before we had plumbing work scheduled. Oh, okay. It was only after we let the plumber in and I showed him upstairs that I remembered. I think we both noticed it at the same time and I didn't know what to say, so I just didn't say anything and started describing the problem he was there to fix as if nothing was weird. He clearly decided to commit to the same approach and didn't make any weird comments or mention it in any way, but it felt so awkward. I would be thinking about that for a really long time after it happened. Just left it on the side. Okay. I wouldn't be asking the same plumber back again. Trans confession / funny story. In math class, my friend and I were writing our names and drawing hearts on our paper with our non-dominant hands. I wrote my chosen name, which happened to be the same as my teacher's first name, but I wasn't out at the time. Oh dear. My teacher saw the paper with my name, his name, my friend's name, and hearts. Oh my god. I was so embarrassed I came out to him after class. He was very nice and understanding. I'm glad he was very nice and understanding. I bet you for a hot second he was like, what's going on here? No, please do not write this in a book as if I am romantically involved with a student. What are you doing? There was this girl in my friend group who I thought was really cute. We complimented each other all the time and had many shared interests. I eventually got the courage to ask for her number, and for months we chatted. After roughly 4.5 months, I asked her on a date and she was like, okay, but before we go on a date, there's something I need to tell you. And I was like, I have something to tell you too. Is this going where I think it's going? There's something we both needed to tell each other was that we were trans. Oh, I love it. Both trans. We were both trans and neither of us knew the other was as well. That's so cute. But why does the story end there? Did you go on the date? Are you still together? Are you friends? Why does it just... I mean, this is so cute, but why does it end here? Thank you for sharing this partial story and leaving me on a cliffhanger. I saw a button meme oh, one of the ones where you press the button. You get $1 billion, but you change genders. And my immediate thought was, ew, I don't want to be my assigned gender at birth. Yeah, I think that's a funny thing. I don't think the person who created it maybe thought that was the interpretation, but it would be for trans people. It would be for anybody. But it depends. Ooh, yes, maybe you don't want to be your assigned gender, but if you were then happy being that gender, like if that then became your gender, it was like a magical switch of like, okay, you are now this gender, then maybe, I don't know, but I just couldn't imagine it. Like even in the hypothetical situation where it would all work out fine and I would be happy and have no dysphoria by doing that, it just seems so not me that I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I dated this girl when I was in middle school when I didn't know that I was trans masc. Her mother was really active at church, but was fine with us being gay at the time. I say with quotations because, you know, I just didn't know I was a guy. Yeah, I get you. And eventually we broke up, but then years later I came out as a trans guy and we started dating again. Oh, rekindled love. And her mum hates me. She thinks I'm the devil reincarnated. Oh my goodness. One of the last times I went to her house, her dad actually thought I was someone different, which was cool. He shook my hand and asked, "What's your name, young man?" And yeah... I mean, that's really funny reaction from the dad, just like not knowing who you are. Does he have a problem as well? You know, life has taught me that you don't need to keep interacting at all or closely with people who don't accept you and are not very nice, especially ones who think that you're the devil reincarnated. But it also taught me that if you give some people some time and space and like little gentle pushes in a direction, then they can come round. You know, I feel like my mother-in-law wasn't too far off where your partner's mum is at the moment, and now totally accepting. Like, we're very close to Shaba's mum, and yeah, it's all good. It did take a while, but it did happen, and it's all good now. I was inside a nightclub having a few drinks and needed the toilet. Trans people, nightclub, toilet. Yes. There was one stall available in the men's bathroom, but no door, so I couldn't close it. This is what I'm talking about. Why? Why are men's bathrooms just so, like, it's as if men never need to poo when they're in public. There is no privacy in men's bathrooms. I was using my STP at the time and it fell right into the toilet bowl. That is disgusting. And splashed everywhere. Wait, had you already started peeing? And I had to reach in and get it. Like, you had to reach into pee water. Oh, that is gross. And it's a public toilet. Ew. But I didn't wash it due to the fact that there's only one sink and two other guys inside. That is horrendous. That is actually horrendous. No. 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 You just had to like wear a pee-pee covered STP for the rest of the night. Oh god. I don't know what I would have done. I would have wanted to chuck it, but then I wouldn't have wanted to have to buy a new one. Oh dear, I'm sorry. When I was somewhere in the vicinity of 12 or 13, I love that set. When I was somewhere in the vicinity of 12 or 13, I love the way you said that. I decided that I was ready to come out as trans to my mother, and I got it into my head that I would come out with Lego. Oh, I love it. A long-standing hobby of mine. So anyway, I found some pink, blue and white bricks and built myself a little trans flag and left it out for her to find. That is so cute. I love that, coming out via Lego. It didn't take her long to find it, and she recognized pretty much immediately that it was a pride flag, but she mistook it for the bi flag instead of trans. No, all that effort, and it's like she's so close. She's so close to getting it, but just, it's not quite right. What have I done to my hair? Sorry. Oh my god. I don't know if that's fixed, but we're going to go with it. I kind of just went along with it because of a mix of social awkwardness and the fact that at that point, my fear over coming out had reasserted itself. It took me almost another year to work up the courage to try again the second time with the letter. I hope she responded positively. I mean, if she knew what pride flags are, and that is, hopefully she did. It's totally okay that you had to take some time and build up that courage again. It is like, it's a big deal for a lot of people. I asked for a binder for Christmas and had to explain to my dad that I didn't want a school binder because he was very confused why I didn't just run to Staples. Classic dad response. Just buy one for your paper at the paper shop. Yes, school supplies. I, trans mask, wanted to get the boys' school uniform. My mum is transphobic, but she's also really into sun safety. My hobbies include transphobia and sunscreen. So I told her the boy uniform is more sun safe than the girls one. Did this work? Somehow that convinced her, and I am so proud of myself for coming up with that. By the way, sun safety is still important. Sun safety is important, but oh my god, your transphobic mother let you wear the boy's uniform because you convinced her it was safer for the sun. That is the most bananas thing I've heard in a while, and I love it. I don't love the fact you have a transphobic mum, but I do love the fact that you found a way to still wear the uniform that makes you feel comfortable whilst not having to out yourself to a transphobic parent. I would assume you're not out, or at least not have that argument with them about wanting to wear the boys' uniform. Nice. And yes, sun safety. Woo. Hey, Jamie, this is a story for the Funny Trans Stories video. I'm a sort of baby trans guy, hello, and I also have a lot of music posters that literally cover the walls of my bedroom. This year we had to host a family Christmas, and it was there that I was planning to come out to a lot of my family members that didn't know. Oh! As I was taking my cousins to go see my room, one of them spotted a Cave Town poster hidden amongst all the other ones on my wall. He then looked at me and said, "Oh my god, of course." But then my other cousin in the room was violently shaking his head and signalling that he had said something he shouldn't have. That's how I discovered that my entire extended family knew I was knew I was trans before I could tell them myself. Oh my god. Well, it's not nice that you were clearly outed by somebody that you'd already told, but it kind of takes the pressure off you having to tell them. They already know, and you were going to tell them, but it doesn't excuse the fact that you were outed, and I'm sorry that happened to you, and the control and the power of coming out yourself was taken away. But I hope that it worked out well for you. When I was younger, around 10 to 11, I used to get bullied because people thought I was a lesbian. I was raised super religious, and I remember freaking out one night while trying to go to bed because I thought maybe I was a lesbian because everyone thought I was. Finally, I calmed myself down by saying to myself, no, if anything, you're a trans man. I love that that was how you calmed yourself down. I went to bed no problem after that and didn't think about it again for another 3 years when I came out as trans. I'm a gay man, by the way, so lesbian was way off. Just a little bit. I remember having a very similar experience of, I was a bit older though, when I was 16 I went to college, and when we could dress like in our own clothes, because in the UK most schools have a set uniform. I didn't come out during school, so I was wearing like the girls' uniform, and then I went to college and I was like, I can wear what I want. I can cut my hair, I can do, it gave me so much freedom, and I started really exploring my self-expression and what made me comfortable, to the point where people just assumed I was a lesbian because I was still presenting as a woman, and everyone was like, you're a lesbian, like you must be a lesbian, look at the way you dress and look and everything, you are. And I was like, I didn't think I was, but maybe I am. I wasn't as far off as this person because I'm bi, but still not a lesbian. Also way off because not a woman, so... I'm MTF and 2 years into HRT, and no one from my K-12 school life recognises me anymore. I don't know what K-12... Is that kindergarten through to grade 12? Is that what that means? Anyway, even some of my besties at the time, and it's so funny because I feel like I'm an undercover agent. Dun, 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 dun. It's gotten to the point too that some of my younger cousins don't recognise me even though they saw me a year ago. One of them said, hey, random lady, the power of HRT, we love it. I'm so glad that it's working its magic for you. I had a very awkward moment where I was recognised in a local shop by somebody that used to work at my primary school. I was like on tea. I looked quite different, but I didn't like have a beard, and they hadn't heard me talk. And they like shouted quite loudly in the store, hey, dead name, how's it going? And then I had to have a conversation with them, and I felt too uncomfortable to correct them. And I was like, hey, my voice was so deep. And then I think they were in touch with my mum or something, or my mum saw them and then explained, because they were like, oh, dead name, I saw them the other day looking a bit different. And then my mum told them. Yay! Hey, I am FTM and I work in a grocery store. When I wasn't out, I got misgendered correctly, okay, by a customer who asked me to get something from out the back. Whilst I was out there, a fellow employee, who obviously didn't know I was FTM since I wasn't out yet, told the customer I was indeed a girl. Oh, I hate it when people like unknowingly wrongly correct people, if that makes sense. Well, and also knowingly wrongly correct people, that's even worse. It was so awkward when I came back to them since the customer was apologising so much and referring to me as female. Oh god, that is, oh, I'm sorry that happened. I was in denial for a long time until I realised I have no incentive to convince myself I'm trans, but all of the incentives to convince myself I'm cis. I love that. Yeah, what incentive is there to convince myself I'm trans and be trans? Oh yeah, give me some of that discrimination. Give me some of that dysphoria. Give me some of that difficult to access healthcare. I'm glad you figured yourself out. Hello. So my story. Last year when we had music class, we were learning about major scale, and the teacher gave each of us some notes and we had to think where we're supposed to stand for the scale to be in order. I was C sharp, which is called cis in my country. Oh, he could choose from another 15 people in the classroom for this note, but he chose cis for the only trans person in there. Rude. How dare. It was really funny, but sadly not many people understood the joke, so I was there laughing alone. Also, I never told that teacher that I'm trans because I didn't feel the need to. He doesn't teach me anymore, and last week we met in men's restroom and it was so awkward and he was so confused, but I ran so he couldn't ask me anything. Oh my god, that was 2 for 1 with the same teacher. Thank you for your 2 awkward trans stories. I love it. Well, actually the C sharp cis one wasn't awkward, that was just funny. Just be giggling, they're like imposter because you're trans, not cis. Sorry. Moving back to the town I grew up in after transitioning is wild. I recently moved home after finishing my undergrad in another US state. I medically transitioned while I was completing my undergrad. I currently work at a grocery store in my hometown and often see people I went to grade school with. What's weird is that I've never had anyone recognize me. Oh my god. Even people that I was in club / theatre / many classes with don't recognize me. Your transition must have hit you hard. I'm very happy for you. Previous high school teachers too. It's bittersweet but also incredibly affirming. Nice. I'm happy for you. That's real cute. Before I knew I was genderqueer, I held a door for someone and they said, thank you, ma'am, sir, ma'am, sir. And my mum was like, she's a girl. Now I'm just genderqueer and okay with anything. I was questioning my gender then, but now I know it, lol. Nice. Whenever people did this before, when I was like, I know my transition and sometimes I'd get misgendered or people would be confused, I was like, commit, dude. Like, just roll with it. Thank you, ma'am. Stick with it. It hurts a bit, but like, it's not as awkward as if you stand there looking at me going, sir, ma'am, sorry, I don't know. My trans-related story on Christmas. Oh, Christmas. My friend got me a non-binary flag for Christmas. I didn't know they got me one, so I unwrapped it with my parents in the room on the 24th. Oh, such fun. Such fun. I already have a rainbow flag in my room and they accept me and everything, but I'm not out as non-binary yet. Okay. Long story short, they saw the flag and didn't know the meaning, so their reaction was, oh, you don't have that one yet, do you? Like I'm collecting flags like Pokemon or something. I'm happy with the reaction and I'm glad that my friend didn't accidentally out me on Christmas. Yes, that is very good. No accidental outings wanted. That's so cute of your parents though. Oh, starting a little collection. You should just get all the pride flags and then really throw them off. They'll have no idea. Awkward trans story. My mother brought me a still pretty closeted trans mask, but out to a few close people, including my parents, to get a haircut. Okay. She said, hi, I'm just here for my daughter's, she meant me, appointment. We want to get her haircut. And the hairdresser looked at my younger sister. We had to bring my younger siblings because they were too young to be left at home, and was like, oh, okay, I passed well, but then my mother was like, oh no, this is my daughter, while looking at me. The hairdresser looked so confused. So yeah, pretty funny experience that I still find amusing this day. People get so like befuddled by gender expression and gender and things, and it's like, mate, just accept it. My reaction would, well, I wouldn't have assumed. I'd just been like, okay, whose hair specifically am I cutting? Okay, great, come with me. And that was the last one. We're ending on a haircut. Woohoo. What a rite of passage moment for trans people. I don't know if it was a trans-related haircut or not, but yay, haircuts. If you like this video, please let me know down in the comments. Think about giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to. You can also become a member of the channel. You can be a Spud Squad member or a little tater tart. And tater tarts are so adorable. There's a little join button next to the subscribe if you want to check it out. No pressure to do any of that, just letting you know it's there. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. I loved making this video, it's so cute, and I'll see you next time. Much love, bye.